Hi, I'm Snez, personal trainer, healthy lifestyle coach, and your guide to feeling your best. This podcast is a segment from my weekly radio show, Wellbeing Wednesdays, broadcast live on 88.6 Plenty Valley FM. It's all about sharing real, practical tips to help you move more, eat better, and live healthier without the overwhelm. Let's dive in, shall we?
Coming up next, though, going to share something that I hope you find interesting, and that is how to put together a healthy lunch. And I know that I get this question a lot, is that people struggle to know what a good, healthy, balanced lunch could look like. And they struggle with thinking that it needs to be perfect, which it doesn't. And I get this all the time. People skipping lunch because they just don't know what to have, or they're in a rush and they need to just grab something randomly because they've left it too late. And they feel flat and they're hungry. And it gets to the afternoon and they're just absolutely starving, and they get home and they're snacking on all sorts of poor choices. So today I just wanted to show you how to lay out a lunch, a really basic supportive lunch. And it's not a diet. It's just a framework that you can lean on when your brain is feeling a little bit tired, or when you're rushed and you're feeling overwhelmed in your day-to-day and you just want something quick and easy to throw together, but you know you're still doing something good for yourself. So we're going to look at some of the things that we're going to put together to make sure that your meals are not only satisfying, but they're going to give you the energy and that you're going to need for the rest of the day. So when we're thinking about lunches, it has three main elements. So the first one is some kind of protein. So protein is your absolute anchor. It's what helps you feel satisfied. It's going to stop that feeling of like you need to graze like an hour later, or needing a real snack or something sugary in the afternoon. It's going to help to balance out those blood sugar levels and help you feeling fuller for longer. Now, this doesn't need to be anything fancy. We just need to think about the basics. So protein for lunches is either going to be some cooked chicken, it can be tuna, it can be eggs. If you want plant-based sources, it can be tofu. Even you can buy flavored tofu or cook up your own tofu. It could be lentils. It could even be some leftover from the previous night's dinner, whether you'd had a roast or whether you had a stir fry and some chicken out of that stir fry. So that's the first step, is just to decide, okay, well, what's my protein going to be? The second part is just adding the colour in. So that's your veggies. So we want to add vegetables to that, whether that be in the form of cooked vegetable, whether it be stir-fry vegetables, whether that be salad, something with fibre and something that's got some good volume. So we want to add volume into our salad or into our sandwich. If we're going to have a sandwich or a wrap, we want that volume to come with lots of colour and fibre. So this is what supports your digestion, your fullness, but also your overall health. It also makes lunch feel like a proper meal rather than just something that you've just grabbed. Like, I was chatting to my son the other day and he's like, "Oh, Mum, just put a can of tuna and 2 slices of bread." I'm thinking, that is not a balanced lunch, A. And B, that's something that he's clearly seen me do, because I'm can at times lean towards deconstructed lunches where I still might have that nice big portion of colourful veggies, but I may eat them all separately. And somewhere in my digestive system, they all add up together and give me the nutrients that I do need, which usually works out that way. But again, these don't have to be, the perfect arrangement of veggies. They can be fresh, they can be frozen, they can be cooked, they can be raw. It's all going to count. Just try and get different colours in there. And then the third piece is some form of energy. So whether you're going to get your energy from carbohydrates and or fats, that's going to sort of decide what you want to do there. And this is where a lot of people get confused or they get cautious, because your body does need fuel to function well, especially to get you through that afternoon slump. So this is where you could be if you're going to go the more carbohydrate side. This is where you're going to add in some rice, some potatoes, some bread, some wraps, some pasta, some quinoa, Or it might be if you're going to add the fats in. So add things like healthy fats like the dressing, the olive oil, avocado. So I wouldn't be putting either avocado or olive oil. I'd be putting both of them in there. And if I wasn't having the carbohydrate, then I'd be having nuts and seeds as well, and really trying to bulk up the nutrients so that I do feel satisfied at the end of that lunch. And just remembering with all of these different elements, because we oftentimes think, oh, we need to not have any carbohydrates for lunch. And I think the really important part is just making sure that they're in the correct proportions on your plate. And so we need to make sure that a quarter of the plate is our protein, a half of a plate is our colourful vegetables or our fruit if you are going to be doing a quarter plate of veggies with your salad, but then you might have a piece of fruit after, for example, which might add that extra bit of fruit, and then a quarter of plate of carbohydrate. So if you're sort of looking at that in terms of your sandwich, just try and get those same ratios. So you might find that, well, you know what, I probably need to add in more vegetables because this doesn't look like half of my meal is made up of veggies. So that's another really good way to think of it. So think of it as a loose plate, I guess, or just have that visual of that in your mind when you are creating your lunches, even though it may be in the form of a wrap or a roll or a salad, but just thinking about something protein, something fiber, vegetables, colourful, and then something that's going to give you energy, which is either going to come from sources of healthy fats or whether that's going to come from a whole grain source of carbohydrate. And then that's it. That's all you need. Simple. And it's another thing that I wanted to say is that lunch doesn't need to be exciting every day. We put so much pressure on lunch to be interesting, or worthy of a picture or different, but that just adds to us feeling overwhelmed with what to have. Instead, have a couple of default lunches that you can rotate through and just repeat, remove the decision making and stick to those 3 different components, which was your protein, your veggies, and your healthy fats. And when lunch actually happens, and it happens with those ratios of those different food groups, you're going to have better energy, fewer cravings in the afternoon, less snacking, and clearer thinking. So give that one a go, but hopefully that clears that up for you and makes that a little bit easier for you to put together. If you do happen to put together lunch on that formula and it makes a significant difference to your day, let me know. Reach out onto Wellbeing Wednesdays with Snez, the Facebook group. I would absolutely love to hear how you go.
Thanks for joining me on this segment from Wellbeing Wednesdays, as heard live on 88.6 Plenty Valley FM. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who might find it helpful and subscribe so you never miss a show. Want to catch the live broadcast? Well, you can tune in Wednesdays from 12 till 2 p.m. on 88.6 Plenty Valley FM, or find my info on Wellbeing Wednesdays with Snez, the Facebook group. Take care, stay healthy, and remember, it's the little choices every day that create big changes. Talk soon.